Prayer. It's something humanity has whispered, cried, sung, feared, and trusted for thousands of years. Yet modern science, after resisting for decades, has finally started leaning in, surprised by what it's discovering. Because prayer, it turns out, is not just a spiritual act. It's a neurological event, a rewiring phenomenon, a deep internal reset button that affects your brain in ways too powerful, too consistent, and too measurable for science to keep ignoring. Imagine a mind overwhelmed by stress, buzzing with cortisol, drowning in overthinking, and then imagine a quiet voice, your own, whispering a prayer, and suddenly deep inside your brain the amygdala softens, the prefrontal cortex awakens, and your racing thoughts begin to slow like waves settling after a storm. This is not magic, it's biology unfolding in real time. Prayer reduces the chaos inside you while awakening capabilities hidden beneath fear, and science now sees that people who pray regularly show stronger emotional regulation, healthier neural pathways, improved focus, and even increased resilience against anxiety. Prayer makes your brain feel safe again, like a child returning home, and when the brain feels safe, it begins to heal, rewire, and rebuild itself. When you pray, you aren't begging the universe for help. You're activating the circuitry that allows your own intelligence to rise, your emotions to calm, your intuition to sharpen, and your inner strength to become accessible again. It's like the brain has two modes, survival mode and expansion mode, and prayer gently, steadily, lovingly shifts you from one to the other. Then something extraordinary happens. Your heartbeat slows, your breathing deepens, your nervous system settles, and a sense of meaning begins to return to your life. Because prayer, whether whispered in fear or spoken in gratitude, gives your mind a sense of direction, a feeling that you are not navigating life alone. Science calls this perceived support, but you and I know it feels like something more, like a presence, a connection, a doorway opening inside you that lets in a light you didn't know you were missing. Prayer strengthens your attention, sharpens your awareness, and activates neural networks associated with hope, optimism, and emotional stability. It literally stabilizes the storms inside the mind. Even if you pray for only 2 minutes, your brain responds instantly. Inflammation decreases, serotonin rises, dopamine becomes balanced, and your body begins shifting from tension to harmony. That's why people who pray often look calmer, walk steadier, forgive easier, and think clearer. Not because life is easier for them, but because their brain is not fighting against them. Here's the part science didn't expect. Prayer activates the same neural circuits triggered by deep meditation, compassion training, emotional bonding, and peak performance states. This means prayer is not passive. It is an active mental technology, a cognitive upgrade available to every human being regardless of age, background, or belief. And the more you pray, the more your brain changes. Literally. MRI scans show thicker frontal lobes, stronger neural coherence, and improved emotional processing. This means your brain becomes better at solving problems, managing emotions, and making decisions. Prayer builds mental stamina. Prayer builds emotional intelligence. Prayer builds inner stability. And in a world filled with noise, distraction, fear, and pressure, prayer becomes your most powerful internal reset. A moment where your soul breathes, your heart steadies, and your brain reorganizes itself around what truly matters. So yes, prayer is spiritual. But it's also neurological. It is emotional medicine. It is psychological grounding. It is internal alignment. It is self-regulation disguised as devotion. It is brain strengthening disguised as faith. And that is why prayer works. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger, clearer, calmer, wiser, and more connected with the deepest truth inside you. And that is exactly what science can no longer ignore.